Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of All Aboard Stock Charts, the show for people who are new to StockCharts.com. I'm Chip Anderson, the president of the company. I'm taking this Saturday morning to join you guys, welcome you to our website. I want to show you around and make sure you have all the basics down of what you can do with your new StockCharts account. For existing members, this show again is all about how to get started. If that's something you need a refresher on, great. On the other hand, if you're looking for some tips and tricks, that's going to happen in about an hour with our deep dive show, okay? So, first off, I've got some slides I want to go through here, and then we'll get into an actual demo. Today's goal is to help you become instantly productive with StockCharts.com. And we have all of these slide notes available for you already in PDF form at StockCharts.com/TV/allaboard.pdf, all one word. And then we're also recording this. It's on our YouTube channel. We'll have the newest version, the version we're doing right now, in about an hour after it ends. So you can always check in there if for whatever reason you want to go back and see something that didn't make sense. Now, StockCharts.com, why do we exist? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Our goal is to help online investors make better investing decisions through the visualization of financial data. If there's something that we can do that fits into that sentence, then we're going to try to do it. We believe that our site, it works because it's a great combination of tools, education, and commentary. Tools, of course, are the things we're going to be going through today, the charts and everything. Education is our chart school area. We have a very large collection of online articles, plus StockCharts TV is a great place to get educated. And then finally, commentary. People writing blogs, people writing articles using our charts, showing you how you can use our charts to understand what the market's doing. We have lots and lots of commentators in our articles section, and of course on StockCharts TV too. So, let's move forward now. I want to make sure before we go much further that everyone understands how our free trial works. Okay? So first off, it's 1 month long. If you've just signed up, you have an entire month to understand, kick the tires, try all the different things that we have, see if you can make StockCharts.com the thing for you. After a month, if you have not canceled, we will charge your card automatically. I'm going to show you how to cancel here in just a minute if for some reason you want to, but if you like what we do and you've turned StockCharts into something that's very useful for you, you don't have to do a thing. You'll be fine. We're going to start you out at what we call our extra membership level. There are 3 levels: Pro, Extra, and Basic. You're going to start out in the middle, the Goldilocks area. It's our most popular membership level, and we think it gives you access to the most capabilities at a very reasonable price. You can upgrade to Pro or downgrade to Basic free during your trial. If you want to try those out and see what those are like, you can totally do it during your trial. Just make sure that when your trial ends, you are at the level you wish to be charged at and you're at the level you wish to use our service at. You can see more about the differences between Pro, Basic, and Extra at StockCharts.com/pricing. Okay? Now, one thing to remember, well, let me go back. I'll just quickly summarize what Basic, Pro, and Extra, what the differences are. Basic is our lowest level, and it gives you access to 1 chart list. Extra is the middle level, like I said, and you have up to 250 different chart lists, and you have the ability to create and run custom scans and alerts. Pro allows you to get bigger charts. You have even more chart lists, you have even more alerts, and your charts can refresh faster. So we will talk about the differences there in just a minute. Pro is the most expensive, Extra in the middle, Basic is the least expensive. Again, we think Extra is a great place to start if you're confused. So the next thing to talk about is that you don't just get a service level. What I just talked about were service levels at StockCharts. You have to pair that up with a data plan. So you get 2 things as part of your StockCharts account: the service level and the data plan. The data plan is what you use to get the information that shows on your chart. Now, most people are going to be totally fine with our free data plan, and so they don't have to worry about any of the stuff I'm about to say. The free data plan will give you pretty much everything you need if you're a casual investor. The only thing it doesn't give you is absolute real-time information from the major stock exchanges. Instead, for U.S. stocks, it will give you real-time data from the BATS exchange, which is almost as good. It's very, very close. The BATS exchange continues to get better. However, when the market's open, the last 15 minutes, the most recent 15 minutes that you see on the chart will be from the BATS exchange, not from the NYSE or NASDAQ. After 15 minutes, we replace those BATS bars with the official bars from the NYSE or NASDAQ. But during that 15-minute gap, we will fill that stuff in with BATS data. And BATS data, the price data is great. The volume data, not so much. BATS volume is much, much lower than the volume that you get from the NYSE and NASDAQ. And so during that 15-minute period, we will not show you volume information. Instead, we'll show you just a gap for volume. If intraday volume during the first 15 minutes is important to you, then you need to upgrade from our free data plan to our paid data plans for the U.S. markets. Those data plans are, at this point, they're an additional $9.95 per month. That money goes straight to the exchanges. It doesn't go to StockCharts. It's basically your exchange fees for using real-time data from the official exchanges. So you can do that for the U.S. markets. In Canada, same kind of deal, only there's no BATS. So in Canada, you'll get a 15-minute delay on everything unless you add the real-time Canadian data plan. Okay? So hopefully that will help. If you do add a data plan during your free trial, you have to understand that's going to end your free trial. In order for us to take money for the data plan, the free trial will then convert into a real subscription at that point. All right. I have with me my good friend Rachel, who's monitoring our chat board and seeing if there are any questions that come in. If you do have questions for us, you can type them in the little box there on the side. During our live presentation, at least you can do that. Rachel, has anything come in so far?
Actually, no.
Okay. I know you're out there. I can hear you breathing. Hopefully this is all sinking in. If you do have any questions, please type them in, and I'll try and address some of the better ones here on the show live. All right. So all that pre-information that you needed to know is now over, and now we're going to get into some demos and make sure that you're able to get around the site and understand everything that's going on here. Obviously, the first thing that you need to be able to do is to log in, and then once you're logged in, you're going to see the dashboard, and also we're going to talk about something called the chart bar. So I'm going to switch over to my demo machine now, and hopefully everyone can see that. This is what you see when you first go to StockCharts.com and you're not logged in. How do I know that I'm not logged in? Well, first off, it's asking me here in the upper right corner to log in. So obviously, if it's asking me to log in, it doesn't think I am logged in currently. When you're logged in, instead of this, you will see your name over here. Another kind of clue that you might not be logged in is if you're using our charts and you see a lot of ads. If you see a lot of ads, it means that you're not logged in. And so some people get a little confused by that, and they don't realize that, and then they get mad at us for showing too many ads, stuff like that. So if you are a member, just periodically glance in the upper right corner, make sure you're still logged in. So I'm going to click here, then I'm going to type in my account information, and the Remember Me checkbox here is very useful. You only want to check it if you're running on a computer that you own and that you control and that nobody else uses. If you are in a public space, a library or something, you don't want to check it, that's for sure. But if you're on your own computer, absolutely, it's going to save you a lot of time and energy. You're just going to immediately go straight into StockCharts every time. Really nice. Okay, so now I'm logged in, and you can see I've got my name up here, Chip over on the right, and I'm looking at what we call the Members Dashboard. The Members Dashboard, by the way, has undergone a lot of improvements recently. We have changed the market overview to make it more detailed. We've added several more panels to it. But I just wanted to show you real quick kind of what it looks like. This should be kind of your home base for using StockCharts.com. When in doubt, if you need to kind of reset where you're at and you want to find your stuff, you can click right here on the Your Dashboard part of the navigation, and you'll go right back here to the dashboard. You can start all over again. Now, before we go any further, I want to make sure that everyone understands the chart bar. It's this line up at the very top of all of our pages, and it is asking you to enter a ticker symbol or name. Now, usually, it is set to sharp charts, meaning that it's going to take you immediately to our premier charting tool, which we call sharp charts. And you can type in any ticker symbol you want. And as you type, it will, of course, drop down. If you're not sure of the ticker symbol, you can type in parts of the name, so on and so forth, and you can look up the symbol as necessary. You can select it from the drop down, and then you're taken, boom, straight to the charting workbench. We're going to come back to the charting workbench in just a minute, but I just wanted to quickly show you how that chart bar works. There are other charting tools that we have. You can see them by dropping down this arrow, clicking on this arrow right here, and you can see all the different kinds of charts that we can take you to immediately, and you can type in a ticker symbol for any of these as well. Now, so that's how this chart bar works, and a lot of people, once they get familiar with stock charts, they will use this to pretty much navigate anywhere they need to get to. But I want to show you the other features of the dashboard, because people might be missing out if they're not familiar with how the dashboard works. Over on the left is going to be information about all the different tools that we provide. And the important thing to know is that this box over here, Member Tools, scrolls. What I'm doing here is I'm just moving my mouse wheel, and I'm able to scroll down and see all the different tools that we have, which include the charting tools, the scanning tools, the reports that we have, the summaries, so on and so forth. All of these tools can be really, really interesting, and I encourage you to check them all out. Just remember that this box scrolls. Okay? Next to it, as I mentioned already, is the market overview, and you can check on any of these. If you want to see, for instance, how the NYSE is doing, you can see that, the NASDAQ. This is going to show you the last 2 days worth of information, and in clicking on any of these will take you right to the charts for those things. Just keep going. Over here we have a data panel. It's normally set up with market movers, and it's normally set up, I think, with the Dow Jones market movers, but you can change that to see the S&P, say the biggest gainers in the S&P on Friday. We can see the biggest gainers in the NASDAQ on Friday, maybe the biggest losers in the NASDAQ on Friday, so on and so forth. Do you have a question, or is there a question, Rachel?
Yeah, there is actually, and it's relevant to the market overview section of the
Yes.
dashboard. Excuse me, Titus would like to know what that dashed blue line is.
The dashed blue line, great question. The dashed blue line represents the close of the previous day. So in this case, the market closed on Thursday at this level here, which is where the dashed blue line is, and then clearly it moved lower on Friday. So on intraday charts, you're going to see that dashed blue line, and it just represents the previous day's close, and you use it as reference. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so let's keep going with our survey of the dashboard. The thing about the dashboard is you can add different lines of information to it, and you do that with this little gear item right here. So I'm clicking on gears, and I see I've got some choices now. I can add or remove any of these things. I can add additional data panels. I can add scans and alerts. I can remove any of these things as well. My advice is to click all these suckers. These are all fun. Go ahead and click them all if they're not already clicked. Save your preferences. And now you can do a lot more with your dashboard. By adding this second line of data, I now have 3 more of these panels. It's identical to the market movers panel I was just showing you up here. And currently, they all contain pretty much the same thing, but I can change that. I can click on the more here. I can make this the sector summary, or the scooter report, or the ticker cloud. I like the ticker cloud. I can click on this one, and I can make this the decision point signals box. I can click on this one, and I can make this my scooter report. And there you go. We're going to talk about some of these things later, but the point is, here on more is a whole bunch of different choices. It'll automatically remember any of your choices, and you can move them around and make your dashboard as useful as you want to be. If you like the DP signals up there, actually, I like the ticker cloud up here myself. The ticker cloud shows which of the symbols are currently popular on StockCharts.com. So StockCharts.com users have been clicking and creating charts for these particular set of symbols. The bigger the symbol is, the more people who have been using it. And it's a very, very useful kind of tool. So if I do that, then let's make this my market movers. Let's make this my sector summary. And let's leave that the scooter report. And so now I've got a very, very useful dashboard for me to very quickly see what's going on and see what things are rising and falling. Down below, we've got information for how to create a scan, how to create alerts, and then this is the new line. I wanted to bring you to this line down here. This is our commentary line. We recently added this. So without having to go to the articles page, I can quickly see what new articles have been added. And I can also even watch StockCharts TV. I don't know if any of y'all are watching this show from this part of your dashboard, but you could. I'm not going to do that because that would get really weird and existential to watch StockCharts TV while I'm doing StockCharts TV. But anyway, the point is that your dashboard is becoming a really great place. You may never have to leave it. It's got a lot of different information. Down at the very bottom of the dashboard is a list of your chart lists. And your chart lists are folders where you store stocks. We're going to get into that in just a little bit. But they are found here at the bottom of the dashboard. And you can quickly get to them by just clicking. I'm up at the top now again. By just clicking on chart list, boom, it's going to quickly take me right there. Chart lists are where you're going to be spending a lot of time if you save lots of charts, which we think you should do. All right, that's more than enough about the dashboard. Any other questions, Rach?
Not right now.
Okay, so we're good. What I want to do now is move on to the next topic. Here we are, which is how to create great charts. And I'm going to share with you a tip, a tip that a lot of people don't know about. It is a tip that you'll be able to just with one click quickly get a great sense of where any stock is, where it's been, where it's probably going to go, all that kind of information. Very, very useful. It's called our gallery view. And so again, we have the sharp chart view is where you get to see an individual chart and really monkey around with it and change all of its settings. Gallery view is where we've already created 4 different versions of a chart for an individual stock, and we're going to show them to you all at the same time. So if you want to really get into and understand what's happening with a single stock, and you're kind of new to this stuff, I recommend Gallery View as a great place to go. So I'm just going to type in a ticker symbol and press enter after selecting Gallery View from this dropdown, and here is Gallery View. And so we have an intraday chart, and below that we have a daily chart, and below that we have a weekly chart. And below that, we have what we call a point and figure chart. Unfortunately, today I don't have a ton of time to talk about point and figure. I'm probably going to do that on the next, not this week, but the next week's deep dive. But anyway, point and figure gives you a long-term view of the chart, and I'll just quickly say that right now this stock is in an uptrend. We can see it has the blue line going up. I'll talk more about that on another show. Next up from that, though, is weekly view. And weekly view is important. We want to get a context. Is this stock generally going up, going down, moving sideways? What's it been doing over the past year or so to see is it, and again, depending on our time horizon, we may be a long-term buy and holder, or we may be looking for a short-term entry, or somewhere in between. We still need to know the context of where things are going. So I'm looking at this particular stock. What we see here in the middle is its weekly price bars. Each bar represents an individual week. We see little bubbles up above and below the chart. These represent the values at significant peaks and troughs. And then we see the current, over here on the right side, we see the current situation. We also see a blue line. This is the 40-week moving average. The 40-week moving average is very, very close to the 200-day moving average, which is something that's widely followed. And so by looking at the stock and its blue line, we can see where it compares, how it's been interacting with its 200-day moving average. And we can also just get a general sense of where the stock is going. So looking at this price chart, just generally, IBM's been going sideways for quite some time. And we can see the moving average has been relatively flat. Every now and again, it moves in a little different thing, but it's relatively flat. It's been maybe trending a little higher recently, but that's kind of a bit of a stretch, I'm afraid. And in fact, just last week, it broke back down below its 40-week moving average. That's not a great sign for the bulls. This stock just, again, seems to be moving sideways. Below the chart, we have an indicator. This particular indicator is the performance indicator. It's showing how IBM compares to the S&P 500. So it's IBM colon, which means divide by, dollar SPX, which is the S&P 500. And when you do that, when you divide one stock by another stock, you end up with a line, and that's what is plotted here. The values of the line over here on the right side are not really that important. They barely matter. What matters instead is the direction of the line. Is the line going up? Is the line going down? Is the line going sideways? So we can see in general, since the beginning of this chart, the line has gone down. So that means since the beginning of this chart, the IBM has underperformed the S&P 500. We can see recently it was going sideways. It kind of tried to go up a little bit here, but it's been going sideways more or less for the rest of this time, and it took a big dive here the last couple of weeks. So again, IBM there's not a whole lot of promising information here in this technical chart from that perspective. From a long-term perspective, the best you could say is IBM's been going sideways, and it's been underperforming the S&P. Now up top is the PPO, which is a momentum indicator. It shows you how IBM has been doing relative to itself in the recent past. So if the bars have been going up, how strongly have they been going up? That's what momentum is. If the bars have been going down, how strongly have they been going down? And that's what momentum is as well. So we can see generally IBM's momentum has been increasing recently, partly because of this big dip. But however, it's now going sideways and it's starting to go down again. The black line is the PPO line, and that represents, again, its momentum. The red line is a moving average of that line. It's a 9-period moving average of the black line. And the idea is that when the black line is above the red line, things are good, and when it reverses, things are bad. The histogram bars that you see here that go out from 0 represent the distance between the black line and the red line. This is standard technical analysis indicator. There's several that work like this. Another really popular one is called the MACD. You can learn a lot more about that in our chart school area, but you'll be seeing that on our charts frequently. Anyway, we now have a reasonably good long-term picture of what IBM's been doing on its charts. Let's move a little higher and see if we can get any more insight by going to the daily view. So this is a daily chart. Basically, we've zoomed in on this little last piece of the weekly chart, and we're now looking specifically at that. And at this point, each bar represents a single day. And we can now see the official 200-day moving average is the red line, and we can also see the 50-day moving average is the blue line. And again, we can see that IBM did break down significantly on Thursday and stayed there on Friday to move below its 200-day moving average, and also left a big gap from Wednesday. So something under heavy volume. So something happened. I assume it was news, maybe earnings report, something like that came out and caused this big gap to occur. So that's something that IBM holders should be concerned about. And we can see it's basically strongly affecting the technicals. Everything's gone a little negative. So we have the PPO again. This is the daily PPO up above, and we can see momentum. When something like news hits, the momentum indicators, you have to wait a little while for them to catch up with that kind of information. So I'm not sure the PPO signal is currently caught up quite yet. Below, we have two things. In the green shaded area, we have what's called the Chaikin money flow. This tends to measure how much money is going into and out of the stock. And we can see actually that perked up on the very last day and went positive. It still needs to prove a little more that it's going to stay up there. The other thing we have, though, is the purple line. The purple line is what we call our scooter line. This is something that's unique to stock charts. Scooters, SCTR, we abbreviate that or nickname that scooters. SCTR is the stock charts technical rank. So what we do is we get all the stocks in a similar market cap and we put them together in a group and we look at a collection of their technical signals. We worked hard with John Murphy and other people to try and refine and come up with a collection of technical signals that were most commonly looked at. And then we run an equation on it. It's all printed out. This is all described in exact detail in our chart school. And we come up with a number between 0 and 100 based on how well that stock's technicals are doing relative to all the other stocks in its group. That's what we call our scooter line. And so it's just a really simple way to, if you don't want to look into all the technicals and all the lines, it's a really simple way to just to get a sense of how strong is the stock technically. And the scooter number, again, goes from 0 to 99.9. IBM's scooter number right now is 22.1, not great. And it recently took a bit of a nosedive on that down below 0, partly because, again, of this big gap down. So IBM probably needs to, we probably need to wait on this a little bit if we wanted to think about maybe buying IBM just purely on technicals. The technicals aren't great. We saw that, and now the scooter line confirms it. And then finally, we've got the intraday view up above, and this is just simply information about the stock in our full quote window up above, followed by 10-minute bars showing, again, the huge drop on Thursday, and then the fact that the stock didn't recover, and it did not recover on Friday either. So these are things to just take into consideration. And so we now have a very good view of what's going on with this stock, and that's what gallery view is all about, to give you an unbiased technical view of what's going on with the stock. Hopefully you like it as much as I do. I strongly recommend that you just spend some time playing with it. You have the ability to customize these charts. This link right here will show you how. My advice is to not do that until you've got a very good sense of what we're currently showing you on these charts and what all those indicators mean. You spend some time looking at lots of different charts, lots of different stocks, and see what gallery view is telling you. Then you can go and change it and mix it up and all that fun stuff. All right, but I believe gallery view is the #1 overlooked tool on our site. Hopefully you agree. All right. At any point in gallery view, we can click on one of these charts. I'm going to click on the daily view, and we're now taken to our sharp chart area. In fact, this is, let me reset this to use just our regular default style, the kind of style that you see regularly. Here it is, SCC default. There we go. That's what people will normally see when they come to the Sharp Charts workbench. And so, any questions yet, Rach? Because I'm going to die. I want to spend some time now going over this workbench, giving everyone a lot of information, I know.
No, not at the moment, but please feel free to ask your questions.
Yes, that would be great. All right, so the workbench is the most important tool on the site right now. It's very much where everyone spends a lot of time customizing or reviewing their saved charts. It has two purposes. One, it lets you create new charts. Two, it lets you look at charts that you've saved. Let me take 10 seconds and go over the format of a chart, and because that maps onto the format of the workbench that you use to create a chart. Every chart has a main ticker symbol, and the main ticker symbol is shown in the upper right corner. In this case, it's IBM. Whatever the main ticker symbol is of the chart you're looking at will be in the upper right corner. The main ticker symbol also controls what these price bars show you. There will be one panel in every chart that's special, and that's called the price plot area, and it contains the price bars for the main ticker symbol. It will also contain this little legend area over here. And so the main ticker symbol's price bars are shown here. Also, any technical overlays, any technical indicators that overlay the price bars will appear in the same window. An overlay is a technical indicator that's calculated on the same vertical scale as the price. Moving averages are a great example. Other ones like Bollinger Bands exist. There are many that overlay price, and we call those overlays. There are other technical indicators that are not plotted on the same scale as price. They're plotted on a completely different scale. Those we call indicators, and those live in panels, either above or below the price plot area. So here's an example. We've got the RSI, which is an indicator that goes from 0 to 100. It's because it doesn't go in the same scale as IBM's prices, it goes in its own panel over here. And similarly, we have the MACD, which is very similar to that PPO I was showing you before. It also has a completely different scale from the pricing, and so it lives in its own indicator panel down below the chart. Finally, we've got volume, and in this case, we have volume overlaid behind the chart, or the price bars. Price bars can be either price bars, they can be lines, they can be candlesticks, they can be mountains. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can organize the price bars, and I'll show you how you change that in just a minute as well. But that's the general format of the chart. Maybe the most recent recent quote is up here. its change for the day is up here. The last bar will be highlighted either in green or in yellow when the market's open. If it's highlighted in green, that means you have official real-time data from the NYSE or NASDAQ. If it's highlighted in yellow, that means you're looking at data that includes BATS data and that eventually will be replaced with official data as well. At this point, the market's closed, so nothing is highlighted, but it would be highlighted when the market's open. All right, so let's now look at the controls that make up the SharpCharts workbench that allow us to change these things, the different elements I just talked about. Clearly here is the symbol and window, and we can change that to some other symbol if we want and just hit update. And now we've got the same style of everything else, but now we're looking at Boeing and its stock. We could change the period as well and go from daily to weekly to monthly. We could also go to different hour choices. And by the way, we just added, this is a tip, we just added the 4-hour choice yesterday. So that's now available. But these are intraday choices. These will be available to you if you're logged into your account. If you're not logged into your account, you'll only have daily and weekly available. It's another little way you can tell. Below that, we have what's called the refresh setting. You can set a chart when the market's open so that it refreshes every 15 minutes, every 15 seconds, every 30 seconds, or every 60 seconds. This is when the page will refresh and you'll get a newer version of the chart. Keep in mind, you always have the ability to refresh charts as frequently as you want simply by pressing the update button. Pressing the update button will get you a new version of the chart each time you press it. This is just something that happens automatically. So if you've set up a chart and you just want to watch it while you're doing something else and make sure it's up to date, you can use one of these settings when the market's open, and we will keep the chart up to date for you automatically. This is also a distinction. Pro users will have a 5-second choice as well as the 15, 30, and 60-second choices. Inspect allows you to hover over the chart and see different values from the chart. As you do that, you can also click and drag to measure distances on the chart, that kind of thing. That's what Inspect is all about. And then the rest of this area above the chart is all about saving your charts. When you want to save a chart into a chart list, you can do that here. When you want to view your chart list, you can do that here. When you want to select a different chart list, which right now I don't have any, you would do that here, so on and so forth. All right. Down below the chart, going forward with our tour, we have several different important links, which we'll come back to. We have chart styles, which we'll also come back to. Got to talk about other stuff first. And then we got 3 areas: chart attributes, overlays, and indicators. Chart attributes have to do with the chart as a whole. These are different ways of setting the range of the chart, in other words, the number of bars that you see, the type of the chart. We were currently looking at candlesticks, but let's say we wanted to look at bars instead of candlesticks. I could change the type to open, high, low, close bars and press update. Now we've got bars instead of candles. I can change the type to pretty much anything I want to. A solid line is common and popular. One of my favorites is actually down at the very bottom, Elder Impulse System. I can't take time to explain exactly how it works, but basically these bars turn into colors, and red is bad, green is good, blue is neutral, and we have more about that in our chart school area. I like the Elder Impulse System. Lots and lots and lots of other choices as well. All of these are covered in our chart school. There are other settings here in the chart attributes area for color, for size, so on and so forth. Lots and lots and lots of different things. I encourage you to explore all of these. You can't hurt yourself. Most of these are either self-explanatory or available and explained in the instructions area for this workbench, which, by the way, the link for that is right here. Right under the chart, there's a link for instructions. That's going to take you right to all the information about what I'm showing you. On the range side of things, you've got a couple of choices. Fill the chart is usually the one I think that you're going to want to choose. Fill the chart says draw all the charts draw all the bars starting at the right and going backwards, and make sure that every bar is perfect. None of them get scrunched or squished or changed in any way. Draw just as many as you can in the space that I've given you, and just make sure they're all perfect. On the other hand, you can pick something like a predefined range of, let's say, 5 years, and press update. Well, now we don't have enough room to draw a perfect bar for each day of the past 5 years in the space that's allotted. So instead we start scrunching things. And we do see 5 years, but they are kind of scrunched. And so that's the trade-off that you make, and it's up to you to determine how much of that you want to do, you want to put up with. So here's a 2-year chart, so on and so forth. Finally, there's the option of doing select start and end date. And when you do that, you can type in, using a little calendar control, start and end dates. That's for looking at history. Or you can come over here to what we call our Ranger control, and you can drag this slider, and then the chart will update as you drag the slider. And even more interesting, I like this part, even more interesting, you can click on the little arrow and you can go forward 1 day at a time, or you can go backwards 1 day at a time, which is really good for practicing technical analysis. Anyway, so all those tools are available. Again, they are described in our instruction area as well. Now, the last 2 things real quick that I have to show you are the overlays area and the indicators area. Now, first off, when you first get your account, it probably looks like something like this with these green triangles collapsed. You want to open up these advanced option areas. So click on these green triangles and you'll get the choice, you'll get additional choices for each one of your overlays and each one of your indicators. Members can add up to 25 overlays and up to 25 indicators to a chart. That's a little crazy, but you can do it. The way it works, though, is, because I've only got 3 here, the way it works is as soon as I fill in this 3rd one and add something, then a 4th one appears, and a 5th one, and a 6th one, and so on and so forth. So you'll be able to expand that out until you have up to 25 of these things. Again, overlays are things that appear on top of price bars. There's a whole lot of them. All of them are explained in our chart school area. And indicators are the things that appear above or below, in panels above or below the price plot area. And you can see we've got even more of those, lots and lots and lots of choices here. There are all other different kinds of capabilities, and you can move stuff up and down in terms of ordering, color, size, so on and so forth. Again, what I'll have to do for this article or this show is I'll just have to reference you to the instruction link here to learn more about what's going on. Do we have a comment? Question?
We have a question from Russ. He asks, how can I make my charts fill up the whole screen?
So filling up the whole screen is something that Sharp Charts doesn't do naturally. You have the ability to change the size, and members can make sizes up to, extra members can go up to 1,600 pixels wide. So here is, boom, a 1,600 pixel wide chart that fills up my whole screen, because that happens to be bigger than what I'm currently using. May or may not fill up your screen, depends on how big your screen is. And by the way, pro members can get even larger than this. So my advice is to find a size that works well for you, and then save that as your default, which is what we're going to talk about in just a second. So that's good. I will also just mention, as an aside, we have a new tool called StockCharts ACP. Which I talked about in my last deep dive show. You're going to want to, that's the one that fills up the entire screen no matter how big your screen is, and you can do all different kinds of stuff with ACP. So keep an eye out for StockCharts ACP if you want full screen charting. Anyway, but what I want to talk about now is the ability to save these settings, because you might spend some time, let's spend a little time here customizing this thing. I want to get a particular color going. I want to get a particular screen size going. Actually, dark blue is probably a bad idea. I like Murphy. There's Murphy. And let's just say that this particular style of chart is really the style that I like. Let me go ahead and I'll add my Elder impulse bars that I like. Alexander Elder's stuff. Let's say this particular chart is a type of chart that I want to see pretty much all the time. It's not. Oh, one more thing. No, I should absolutely make it fill the chart. That way, I get to see the right edge of the chart. So again, if I'm looking at a ticker symbol and it's a brand new symbol and I'm not sure if I want to look at what I want to see, let's say these are the indicators, these are the kinds of information that I want to see all the time. So I've set this correctly. I'm now going to click on Save as Default. See this link right here beside Chart Styles? Save as Default is your key to not having to constantly reset up your charts. Save as Default, boom, I click on it, and now it says, are you sure? And I say, yep. And now anytime I type a ticker symbol anywhere in the site, I could be anywhere. So let's go back like to my dashboard. Now I'm at my dashboard, and I want to look at one of these symbols. Like, okay, so here's GDXJ. I just pick it out of my ticker cloud. I click on it. So it's a symbol that we know nothing about. It's going to automatically give it to me with my default settings. That's going to save you a ton of time. If you get your default settings set up the way you like it, you're going to be able to use stock charts really, really effectively, very, very quickly. So that's a number one tip, big tip, is to set up your defaults properly. Okay, so that's important. Now the next thing that's important is setting up a chart list. And a chart list is going to be, again, it's a collection of related charts that are related in some way. You get to define how they're related. So you could have a chart list that is like all the stocks that you currently own, your portfolio. You have another chart list which is stocks you're currently watching, your watch list. You have another chart list which is, I don't know, stocks that CNBC talked about this past week. You can have, they're just folders. They're like folders on your disk drive. You can store as many charts, actually up to 500 charts in each one, and you can have up to 250 of them. So there are ways to categorize your charts. And you can create them in a couple of different ways. And once you have them created, you can store charts in them in a couple of different ways. This is the easiest way to store a chart in a chart list. Everyone's account comes with a default chart list. And I'm going to just hit Save As up here. Let's say that I want to save this GDXJ chart. I really like it for whatever reason. And so I'm going to just click Save As, and then I could change this stuff, and then I'm going to click Add New. Okay. And let's do a couple other things. Again, I did Boeing. We like that. So Save As, Add New. And I liked IBM. And I'm going to do Save As, Add New. Okay, and so now those charts are saved away in my account. I can use these arrows to go back and forth between them. Oops, I had a couple other charts in there. There's the GDXJ, and there's IBM. Or I can click here, View All, and I can see all of them at once. And so this is what we call our 10 per page view, and it's showing us all the charts that I've saved into my chart list all at once. So this includes the 3 I just saved, plus a couple from last week when I was doing things. There's one, and this one has annotations. I'm going to talk about those in just a second. But the point is that 10 per page allows me to see all my charts 10 at a time in one list. There's other kinds of views that we have. 10 per page is called a view, and there are other kinds of views we have. We can see chart book, which is 1 per page, essentially. There's my good friend gallery view, candle glance, RRG, seasonality. All of these things are available to you, and I encourage you to spend time learning more about them after this show's over. Now, let's go back and talk about annotations. So I clicked on my chart. I'm now back at the Sharp Charts workbench. I could change any of my settings, or in addition to that, I can come down here right below the chart. Can you ever see this? Over on the right, over on the left, is the annotation link. And so clicking on Annotate, which I just did, will put me into a mode where I can now drag and draw, boop, there we go, trend lines or any other kind of lines or text or shapes of any color or size onto my chart. So that's trend lines, which I picked here. I can also, for instance, take shapes and do like a circle. Oop, there's a circle. I think if I hold down one of these keys, which one is it? There it is. It's Shift. If I hold down Shift, then I'm drawing a perfect circle. So on and so forth. I can fill these in with different colors. I can make the lines thicker, thinner, all different kinds of stuff. And then there are additional things I can add. Fibonacci is very, very popular, Fibonacci retracements. So we can do all different kinds of Fibonacci retracements. This is a Fibonacci arc. We can do the regular retracements, change my color, so on and so forth. So that's just a big mess of annotations. Hopefully you'll do a better job. And again, Chart School explains all of these different annotations and how they can be used and what they mean. When you're done, then you can save it. You can either save it by clicking here, or you can save it just by closing down the annotation tool, and it asks you to save, and you say yes. And now all those annotations are on my chart, still a big mess. And the good news is that they will stay there. In other words, as more data is added to the right side of this chart, all the annotations will slide to the left and stay accurate. So once you've annotated a chart, you don't have to re-annotate it every day or anything like that. Really, really nice. So annotations and what we call our chart notes tool. Very, very powerful, very popular. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Do we have any other questions at this point, Rachel?
Not at the moment. I forget though, in the chart list, did you cover the other views for the chart list, like candle glance?
Well, I mentioned them. I showed them in the drop down. We're going to talk about candle glance here in just a second, so that's a very good point. I've talked about customizing the dashboard. I do need to talk about your account. So before I do that, Rachel, I want to cover one other thing, just to make sure everyone gets covered in the time that we have. And that is the Your Account option. So I mentioned this before, the ability to change your account, maybe upgrade or downgrade, maybe cancel, some other information. There's 2 ways to get to the Your Account page, that's the page where you change all that stuff. The first, and maybe the easiest to remember, is to just click on your name. Once you're logged in, click on your name, and then you've got Your Account as one of the choices here. And you click on that, it'll go to the Your Account page, and this is where you can make changes to your account. Now, that said, let me show you there's another way to get there, which is right here on the Members Dashboard. Here's the Members Dashboard. We're back. Right here under your name, again, is Your Account, and you can get there that way too. So 2 different ways to get there. Now, the Your Account page will give you information about the kind of account that you have and when it renews. In my case, it renews, or it just renewed. Anyway, and if you want to change your service level, maybe go or try out Basic or go and try out Pro, you do that by clicking here. If you want to change your auto renew preferences, here. If you want to add a data plan, instead of having the free standard plan and you want to add the paid US real-time plan, you could do that here. Your user ID is your email address, and if that needs to change, you do that here. Here's your password. We're going to assign you a password when you first create your account, but we encourage you to change that to be something more secure, and you can change that here. Here's where you change your credit card information, and you can also see any invoices that we've already charged your card for. If you're a long-term member, you're going to see all of those right here by View Transactions. Chart packs are you can buy those. Those are pre-created chart lists. They're very useful. But finally, there's some, and then we've got 2 newsletters that go out, and you can choose to unsubscribe from them here. Finally, we've got cancel. This is gray button down at the bottom is the cancel your account button. If for whatever reason we're not meeting your needs, which we get, that's fine, then you can cancel your account at any time just by clicking on this button. During your free trial, that'll kill your free trial, and we won't charge you at all. Once you're a member, canceling your account will, again, cancel your account, and we'll refund you what you need in order to make everything square. So that is the Your Account page. Again, wanted to make sure everyone was very familiar with how to get to it because it's a very important page. Okay, so the final thing I want to do while we've just got a little amount of time left is to dig into what Rachel just talked about, which is the ability to create new chart lists and then view them in a couple of different ways. I'm back here on the dashboard page. I'm going to click on the chart lists button here, which takes me quickly to the bottom of the screen. Here's my chart list. Right now I just have 1. I want to create more. How do I do that? I can click on new right here. There are a couple ways to do it, but this is the easiest way. Click on new, give it a name, my portfolio. Maybe, hopefully, create the new list. And then here, I now have a new list. At this point, the list is empty, so it's asking me, hey, can we add some stuff to your list for you? And I can do it from a variety of different things. I'm going to click on many, and I'm going to type in some ticker symbols, just separated by commas. And I'm just remembering stocks kind of randomly here. And then I'm going to hit Add Charts. And now it has created immediately 5 charts for each of the ticker symbols I typed in. Guess what those charts look like? They look like my default chart style. And in fact, we can verify that by coming up here and in viewing the list. Instead of in edit mode, which we're now in, we'll go back to 10 per page mode. And now we can see each of those charts, and they all have that same style, my default chart style. So it's important that you set up your default style before you start creating lots of chart lists, because then all the charts in your list will be the same thing. So that's 10 per page. Let's look at another one though. I want to show you before we go, candle glance is a very popular and very useful way to look at your list of charts. A candle glance chart is a very specific small mini chart. It's limited in its size so that you can see lots of them at the same time. You have the ability to change the look of the candle glance chart to a certain degree. So here's a 1-year chart of these things. And you can also add a single indicator if you wanted to each of these. And then you can hit go. And so the point here is you can start to play, you can start to sort these charts and decide if you like them, if you don't like them, so on and so forth. Every time I hover over one of these symbols, a little trash can appears in the upper right corner. See that? And if I click on that trash can, it will delete the chart. By the way, there's no way to undo this. The trash can is a little dangerous. But the idea here is that this can be useful when you have a list of charts and you want to pare them down. Maybe the list is bigger than you intended, and now that you see the charts, you can quickly get rid of the ones that don't look good, keep the ones that do look good. I do that all the time with scanning. I did a show recently on scanning where we talked about this. I run a scan, I get back the results, I look at the results in candle glance mode, and then I use this little trash can to get rid of the results that I don't like. So that's another view that's super useful. Another one that we have, just to give you a flavor of all the different things we have, RRG is one of the crazier ones that we have. Julius de Kempenaar has a show on StockCharts TV where he goes into this in much more detail than I'm going to do. But this basically collects all the stocks that are in my chart list and shows me their RRG. Let's do this. And we want to fit this and center it. And now I'm going to just animate it. And RRG is set up so you can see stocks moving from 4 different quadrants, from improving to leading to weakening and then to lagging. And it gives you a sense of how well that stock is doing relative to other things. Again, Julia, Chart School has a lot on RRG, and Julius has a show all about it. It's a very fascinating tool. I love it because it's so visual. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of time to give you more details, except to say, please play with it. So RRG is another view that we have. Lots and lots and lots of other views. I strongly encourage you to check them out. Summary view is also really useful. This one is where all the stocks in your list are just in a table, and you can get a sense of how well they're done. There are lots and lots more of other charts and other capabilities on StockCharts. I encourage you to explore. I think that's the bottom line. Don't be afraid to explore. Now, we've got a new thing that I have to tell you about that's actually can actually automate some of the points that I made during my show today. So if you're the kind of person that wants to do it yourself, absolutely do what I've been showing you so far. If on the other hand, you're the kind of person that wants a little bit of hand holding, let's do this. I want to do, go to StockCharts.com. And you should, if you've signed up recently, this should have happened automatically. If you haven't signed up recently, if you signed up a little while ago, you may not have seen this. Go to StockCharts.com/setup. Okay? And this takes you to our brand new, this is literally less than a month old, our brand new setup wizard. And the setup wizard is going to take you through setting up the things that I mentioned in the show today. Like, for instance, your default chart style. In the setup wizard, you get to just pick from a couple of different choices that we have. I showed you how you can do it yourself, which you can still do. But this one, if it's a little overwhelming, there's so many choices, then you can just choose from, I think we've got 6 or 7 different choices here, and then continue on to step 2. So step 2, now it's going to prompt you to create your first chart list. As I mentioned, a chart list collection of stocks that you like. So maybe this is your portfolio. Again, so in my case, it'll be my other portfolio. Well, all right. And then you get to add symbols to it. This is where you type symbols. That's what happens. Yes, IBM, add the symbol. And GE, add the symbol, so on and so forth. So this is just a different prompted way. It's a wizard that helps you get through all the different setup tasks that you have. And then it also includes ways for you to add scans to your account. We didn't get a chance to talk about scans today. Scans are super valuable. And there are other shows that we talk about scans, and again, lots of information up on StockCharts TV and in Chart School. Anyway, the setup wizard will help you get some initial scans into your account. Strong volume gainers, bullish. I frankly just click them all. My advice is just to click them all, and then you can always take them out later. You've got tons of room in your account. So the question now is, does everything look good? If I continue on, it's going to set my default chart style, it's going to create a chart list, and it's going to add those scans to my account. And I can hit confirm and finalize, and all that stuff just happens. So the new setup wizard can be very valuable. Again, I think if you've recently signed up, you would have automatically seen this. But if you haven't, you can go to stockcharts.com/setup and run it at any time. So we're almost out of time. The last slide that I have is about all the different ways you can find buying opportunities. I've already mentioned most of these. The ticker cloud, scooters. Let me just quickly take you to predefined scans at the last second. Rachel, were there any other questions that have come in?
Not at the moment, but I would like to mention that I put up a new poll, and it's just to the right of the screen, and it's just asking how useful this presentation has been for you. So if you don't mind, that would be wonderful if you contribute to that.
How can I click on useful? Very useful. I want to click on that poll.
Of course.
Okay, so again, there are several different ways quickly that you can get other kind of buying opportunities if you're looking for buying stocks to buy. I've mentioned the ticker cloud, and here it is. You can see what stocks are popular on StockCharts right now. The scooter summary is over here on the left. You scroll down just a little bit to the reports area, and you can see the scooter report. Here it is. So we saw that IBM wasn't doing too well with a 21 rating. Target is currently our best stock in the large caps with a 99.9 rating. Target's been doing very well. These are other stocks that have been doing very well. If you aren't looking at some of these stocks right now, you're missing out. So that's what the scooter report will give you, the really good ones from now on. Predefined scans. We mentioned that the setup wizard will give you some of these. You've also got them available to you at all times here on the right in our reports and more. Predefined scans. These are scans we run every day, all the time, and you can quickly see the results of those scans without having to do any additional work. If you want to see stocks making a new 52-week high in the NASDAQ, you just click right here on 51, and then here are all the stocks that made a new 52-week high on Friday. Did you know that? Are you looking at any of these stocks? Kind of should. Maybe Dollar Tree is where you want to go. I'm not sure. You'll need to check those out. And then again, finally, there is creating custom scans, and we have shows to help you with those. The custom scan tool is actually right here, your scans, and the ability to create a new scan, run a new scan, so on and so forth. All right, I think I'm down to the wire as usual. I always run out of time with this show. I'd love to keep going. Love to show you everything there is about the site. Hopefully, you've gotten a good sense of the general capabilities of the website, how to navigate around the website, how to upgrade, downgrade your account, how to cancel your account. Please don't do that. Whatever else that you need to do. If there's any information that I haven't covered and you need help with, there is the help. I'll leave you with this. There's the help link on the right side of all of our pages towards the top. You can click on help, send in your questions, and our crack team of customer support agents will get right back to you as quickly as they can with the answers. So again, thanks very much for being a StockCharts.com user. We really appreciate it. If you like it, please stick around and maybe tell your friends. And please keep watching StockCharts TV. Lots and lots and lots of good information here as well.
Yeah, Chip, the next show coming up is last week's deep dive, and it's all about ACP. So Chip touched on that during the show. If you want to learn more, stay online.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.